For our project, we researched the star qualities of Martin Luther King Jr. We learned how he had determination, compassion, fairness, and perseverance, which we think makes him a great candidate for the Star Spotlight nomination. Another trait that Martin Luther King had was fairness. The first quote listed shows how his mentors told him to fight for justice, no matter what race. He wanted people to be treated equally, which was the biggest reason of why he did what he did. The second quote shows how he doesn't want to be treated any differently than anyone else and get the same punishment if he is committing a crime. He wanted laws to be fair and just, and nothing else. Lastly, one of the character traits Martin Luther King portrayed during his lifetime was compassion. His parents, teachers, and mentors want even the black children to love those who hate them and show compassion to one another, as shown in quotes 1 and 2. Martin Luther King showed very deep Christian beliefs, and some of which inspired his actions of peaceful protesting for equality. He didn't want to fight the whites. He wanted to become friends and have peace between races through compassion.
And here are two pictures of Martin Luther King Jr. And the next two character traits are going to be perseverance and determination. Even as a young adult and teenager, Martin Luther King Jr. was determined to be the opposite of the tardy, ungroomed person that others were expecting. With the words from this next quote, King inspired civil rights activists to stay involved and enthusiastic despite any troubles they might have faced during the bus boycott. This third quote shows how MLK and other civil rights activists persevered through the Get Tough policy. This policy included threats about loss of insurance licenses and charging waiting riders with vagrancy. Even the police were involved with harassment of drivers and giving tickets for almost any reason. The top quote shows that despite having its own house bound, MLK retained a nonviolent attitude and even dispersed the gathered mob around his house with the words, "We must meet violence with nonviolence." In this next quote, MLK was almost killed by the wound inflicted by an anti-civil rights activist. However, he persevered and was determined to get back to working with the civil rights movement. Later, he was told by his doctor that if he had sneezed during all those hours, his aorta would have been punctured and he would have drowned in his own blood. This final quote tells how government officials would allow groups like the Ku Klux Klan to harm or lynch African American protesters legally. However, Martin Luther King and many of his followers were not intimidated by these threats. And this is an image of the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And finally, here's our bibliography.